What's up, guys? Good Saturday to you from the battlefield. As I often am, I'm out on day one of the battle, and I'm not walking on the Emanuel Harmon farm. I am headed up towards Mcpherson's barn. So if you're coming along, if you're joining me, if you're tuning in, thanks for watching, coming along and tuning in. And I hope your day's been a good one. So it's about 8 o'clock. Sun's going down. I'm out here by the ranger station, and that is the General Reynolds Monument and the General Buford statue. And below the General Buford statue, if you can see it, this doesn't zoom, but I'm going to start doing pieces on places that I go. But below that General Buford monument is something that I filmed and I often show people, and it is the cannon used in the opening artillery volleys here at Gettysburg.
Woke up this morning between 1 and 2, heard a chicken squalling down at my chicken roost. I rushed down there, was a little too late. I rushed down there.
But we are headed over to Mcpherson barn. And it is nice out here right now. One of the most recognizable sights on the Lincoln Highway within Gettysburg is the barn at the Mcpherson farm. There was a tremendous amount of fighting here in the fields during the first day of the Battle of Gettysburg. The barn is the only structure that is left standing on the original farm. Edward Mcpherson's farm was a half a mile west of Gettysburg atop the ridge that also bears his name. The area was the scene of intense fighting on July 1st, 1863, as Confederate General Henry Heth's division advanced towards Gettysburg against defending Union cavalry under General John Buford. Union reinforcements from General John Reynolds' First Corps arrived and counterattacked, and fighting swirled through Mcpherson's pasture lands and 2 fields planted in corn and wheat, as well as through neighbor John Earp's woods. During July 1st fighting here, the barn was a prominent landmark and used to shelter various Union regiments from artillery and small arms fire. Sharpshooters, or snipers, occupied the barn and fired from embrasures located in the gable walls. Confederate General Harry Heth later surmised he was wounded by a shot from this barn, and he was wounded right over there. Maybe I'll take a walk over there real quick. But sharpshooters were shooting out of those slits, and in a previous video I showed you Heth's stump right over there at the base of that, where that tree line starts. And so Heth was shot, wounded in the head, and he surmised that it was shot probably from one of these slits in the barn. The position was overrun by overwhelming numbers of Confederate infantry on the afternoon of July 1st. stranding scores of wounded Union soldiers. These men lay unattended until July 6, when the barn and other Mcpherson buildings were hastily transformed into an emergency field hospital. The battle ruined the crops and the pastures of Mcpherson's tenant farmer, John Slentz, and caused considerable damage to fences, buildings, property, and supplies, for which Mcpherson was never compensated. Mcpherson sold the farm in 1868. The house burned down in 1895. The National Park Service bought the property in 1904 and now maintains the Mcpherson barn. And I was lucky to go in the barn a couple years ago. A buddy of mine, FBI Mike, the guys were restoring and refurbishing the interior of the barn, and inside you can't go in, it's locked, but they've done such a great job. The inside looks just fantastic. And we have General Reynolds up there, nice silhouette, sun's going down, and there's something about certain places, and of course Gettysburg itself, that draws certain people to this battlefield and certain places on this battlefield. And if you're a true believer, perhaps you were here as well. This is just a short snippet of something I've been wanting to do, part of my Excursions into the Past video series. And this video series will be a lot more than me walking around and giving you some fairly generic information about different sites on different Civil War battlefields. There's several battlefields that I visit as consistently as I can. Kernstown, Monocacy, Gettysburg. I live here. I live a quarter of a mile down this road. You can literally hit my place with a rock. But these videos will be much more than me taking a walk and, like I said, giving you some fairly generic information about these sites. I'm by no means a Civil War expert. I am a living historian. I am a reenactor. And for those who didn't know, I have been visiting Gettysburg once or twice a month since 2001, when I moved to Pennsylvania. I moved up to Pennsylvania from Virginia Beach during my divorce, and Gettysburg is a natural halfway spot between DC and Hershey, Pennsylvania. So my daughter and I started stopping into Gettysburg to have dinner on our way home to Hershey, when I would pick her up at school after school on Fridays, when she was 6-7 years old. And we've been coming to Gettysburg fairly often ever since. We're oftentimes meeting the nicest people out on the Gettysburg battlefield. And it goes without saying, half the time they also turn out to be living historians and reenactors. It's always nice to meet nice new people. And continuing my walk for the evening, I hope you enjoyed my little generic chat on Mcpherson Barn, and stay tuned for more.
And made his getaway. Went out to my corn crib for to get some corn. Went out to my corn crib for to get some corn. Thief had broke in my corn crib, took away every ear of my corn. Went to get my car for to go get the sheriff. Went to get my car for to go don't get the show. Thief, it took every turn right off of my car. Hard luck. Well, along come a storm, tore down my corn. Along come a storm, tore down my corn. While the bean beetle in the bean patch eating up the beans. Boll weevil in the cotton, he's tearing up the boughs. Got the farmland blues, got the farmland blues right now. Got the farmland blues, got the farmland blues right now. Not another fur.
That there's the meanest man who ever fought for the town of Gettysburg. I admire that old man. I would have done the same. You got 3 trees right there in the distance, right along that fence. And on the end there where that tree splits, and I've done a piece about this before, the tree on the end on the right is the only one that's mangled. The rest of them, their growth habit is uniform and vertical, except for the last trees. They're the same type of tree. So he hunkered down somewhere in this vicinity, John Burns. It's getting dark and I'm gonna have to end this video soon. I likely won't head home. Maybe we'll see something spooky here in the most haunted ground in the United States. But I have attained, proudly have attained, the reputation on this battlefield as someone who has been everywhere on this battlefield, mostly on the off the beaten path places that most people never go. Very few people ever go. And those have always been the types of places that I've sought out no matter where I am. If I'm in Wyoming, Colorado, hiking, the Appalachians, I've always sought out places that most people don't go. So it makes me feel damn good that occasionally, once in a while, several times a year, different people hit me up and they're like, hey, do you know where this is? Do you know where this is? If one person knows where this is, it's you, because you've been everywhere on this battlefield. And I'm glad. That makes me feel like I've accomplished something. I've accomplished walking most square footage of this amazing hallowed ground. And I was just mentioning earlier, and I've showed you this before, so General Heath, and it's very covered with leaves and debris, and you can still see Mcpherson's barn over in the distance, but this is Heath's stump. Okay, so Heath was reported, it was written when Heath was wounded in the head. Big Hat Heath, as he became known because of his wounding, was wounded near this stump, and he was likely shot from sniper fire from that barn. At least that's what he himself has surmised. So, and I apologize if this video is dark. We'll move on. I'm going to be out here walking for a while. Most of my viewers know that I have narcolepsy, so I sleep intermittently throughout the day, and I just woke up at 8 o'clock. But I am not going to stay in the house while the temperatures are still affording me the time to get outdoors and enjoy the outdoors and enjoy my favorite battlefield, where I've made my home now for 6 years, and enjoy the weather while it's still pretty dang cool. And again, before it gets too dark, thanks for coming along and thanks for joining me on another edition of Excursions into the Past. Encore, encore. If you don't remember my ghost story, one of my experiences on the Gettysburg Battlefield, I will share once again. It was early evening, late afternoon, I believe on an autumn day, and I was walking home from the library. The library is about 3 miles from my house out here on Willoughby Run. Yes, I actually live on the battlefield. I live perhaps a half a mile from here, and we are at the Iron Brigade Monument, the 24th Michigan, and Archer's Tennessee Brigade, Burgwin's North Carolinians. And so I was walking home from the library. I think most of you know this story. And I was trucking right up around that curve, book bag on my shoulder, listening to my tunes. And I saw a shadow run right down this hill, hit this road, and disappear before my very eyes, not 20 feet away. And the shadow was in the shape of a man running, and he was headless and he was missing an arm. Long story short, which I'm the king of making a short story long, I had often wondered what would go through my mind if I ever saw something like that I couldn't explain. That's occurred in my life in a spiritual sense many times, but not in a ghostly sense on a Civil War battlefield. And so, as I've said in my previous videos, I tried to make logic out of it, that it was a deer, it was an owl, it was whatever. But by the time I got a few hundred yards up the road, I realized I did indeed see what I saw. For the first time in my life, I mean, I really saw something right before my very eyes, an apparition, late in the day, and it just disappeared. You are walking on hallowed ground when you are walking on any battlefield. Kernstown, Cedar Creek, Gettysburg, Monocacy, Fredericksburg, Manassas. And you know what went down, when it went down, what occurred, between whom, and throw some personal stories in there. You're not merely walking up pavement anymore. My videos and my photos over the years, and I've been posting photos from Gettysburg since 2008. It's been 10 years I've been really posting photos of this place. But when you become more intimate with hallowed ground, regardless of what that hallowed ground is, Gettysburg, Arlington National Cemetery, when you walk these hills and you go through these woods and you cross these fields, it paints a picture. The information that has been put into your mind, that intimate knowledge, paints a very vivid picture sometimes of what occurred where you're walking. And as you've often heard me say, if you've been a viewer of my videos, a lot of times it puts a lump in your throat. You get to know the men, the people who fought, lived, and died where you are placing your feet. In any event, I know it's too dark for video at this point. So, you folks, on this beautiful Saturday night, do me a favor and have a very awesome rest of your weekend. From Reynolds Avenue in the Gettysburg National Military Park, here within walking distance of my home, lucky as I am. Have a great night, and thanks for tuning in to the further misadventures and the unadulterated comedy and commentary of Colonel Kentucky Coffee Tree. Hope to see you soon, you all. You guys have a great night. Have a great day tomorrow. If you ever find yourself on the Gettysburg Battlefield at night, in the distance you spy a Confederate soldier, the ghost of a Confederate soldier, and you smell that haunted cigar smoke, and you see that ghost of that Confederate soldier walking off into the deep woods, don't be scared. It might just be yours truly.
Gonna sell my farm, gonna move to town. Gonna sell my farm, gonna move to town. Got the farmland blues right now.